Supervisor Withers, Supervisor St. Lawrence.
Here, I'd like to ask Councilman Ullman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so anybody that wants to speak in public participation, raise your hand. You have 3 minutes. Come up to address, come right up. And the clerk will tell you when you have 30 seconds left, okay?
Rudy Dent, 8 Red Oak Lane. Chris, I'd like to know a question. The answer to a question's been put to you several times. Where is our $11 million? You've told us several times that you're looking for the information. You implied it's been taken care of. I am referring to the people who were captured, convicted, incarcerated, and pardoned from stealing $11 million from RCC, okay? That money is not a gift to be given just simply because they've been pardoned. Where is it? What have you done? We'd like to know, okay? That's important. I did tell you before, as I told you before, I told you about the indictments coming down. I knew the names on there. I didn't mention them. And the fact that those names that I was made aware of did not come out publicly may indicate that they're cooperating with the FBI. So, you know, it's an ongoing investigation, and that's something else you need to be aware of. Also, I informed you about a law that prevents you from using our money to defend yourself when you step outside of your fiduciary obligations, which caused your indemnification insurance to decline representing you. So, you know, I want to know about the $11 million. I'm still upset when you threw the police department under the bus when Officer Quinn made a lawful arrest and followed proper police procedure, and you turned it around. You, the police commissioner, and Chief Brower turned it around, apologized to the block, and designated that the police department needs sensitivity training. They did everything right. They did nothing wrong. And then Brower had the gall to say that in his 20 years, he'd never seen such a crime. At that time, a member of our round table who told us if he thought we were anti-Semitic, he would have nothing to do with us. He was a Hasidic member of that community. And he said in his town, that's as common as spitting on the street.
30 seconds.
So two or 3 months later, one of that same tribe was charged with stealing thousands of dollars in welfare from by falsely claiming to be homeless and whatever, and the charge was renting from himself in his own mansion. And he was convicted, and then he was pardoned.
Your time is up.
Thank you, Mr. Dent. Anyone else who would like to speak, raise your hand. Robert, come right up.
It's Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. One of the things I'm concerned about is that the project at Pomona Road and Route 45 with the proposed hotel. And the thing that troubles me most is that the town gave 25 acres of property that belonged to the taxpayers of the town of Ramapo to the Ramapo Local Development Corporation, and the Development Corporation never has to pay for the property. And it's under the pretense of putting this property back on the tax rolls. And it's going to be a number of years with this property being on the tax rolls before it generates enough revenue to make up for the loss in revenue for the property. I spoke to a real estate agent who said that in that neighborhood, property is worth about $200,000 to $175,000 an acre. So we're talking about $4.5 to $5 million that you've given to the Local Development Corporation from the town of Ramapo taxpayers. And I believe the real reason for this is because the Local Development Corporation is broke and doesn't have any money, and it needs that money to pay off the bonds for the stadium. So what this really is once the project is done and completed, and the project, if it is done, is sold, and the RLDC gets the money, they're going to reap the windfall profit of this property that was given to them, and they're going to use that money to help pay off the bonds on the stadium. So what this really is that the taxpayers of the town of Ramapo are paying off the bonds of the stadium when you said that no taxpayer money would be used for the stadium. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Anyone else? Come right up.
Camille Saunders, unincorporated Ramapo, where anything goes. Every one of you board members has no morals, no values, and no integrity. Because if you did, that wouldn't be sitting in that seat. The day that got indicted, you would have got together and said, we got to get him out of here. But apparently he has dirt on all of you, and you probably all have dirt on him. And when the you-know-what hits the fan and you all start rolling on each other, it's going to be better than O.J. Simpson's trial. But as far as I'm concerned, not one of you have morals, values, or integrity. I don't know how you lay your head on your pillows at night, because you're screwing every one of the taxpayers in this community. And you divided this community. You did so much damage to this community, it will take years, if ever, to repair what you have done to this community. It's time for you to go, because you are the butt of everyone's joke. The only people that like you are not even present tonight. I guess you didn't know we were coming, so you didn't fill the room with all your buds. I guess that didn't happen because you didn't realize we were going to be here. You destroyed our town. You were born and raised here. You shamed your family. You shamed your mother. You're lower than low, and you deserve to go. If you were a man, you would leave. You would not stay here. And if any of this board had integrity and values, they would get rid of you. By now, you would have been gone. That's all I have to say, because you're not even worth my time.
Thank you.
And whatever minutes
Sir,
I have,
did you want to come up?
give it to someone else, because they deserve it.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, maybe you should have this microphone on the side so I can address everybody. But, okay, my name is Matthew Brennan. I wrote a recent Rockland Journal-News community view about the pending criminal charges. I really believe that many of the people calling, I don't believe many people have actually read the 30-page federal indictment, and I don't think many people really know the difference between criminal and civil court, especially certain bloggers that I would only categorize as preserved stupidity. FBI investigators spent several years examining over 200,000 documents, and what they came up with was several creative or outright accounting mistakes. They were exaggerated to make them seem worse than they actually were, and utilizing the charge multipliers with regards to conspiracy, mail fraud, interstate commerce, etc., the U.S. attorney trumped this all up into a 22 charge package. There is no charge of embezzlement, there's no missing money, which means neither defendant gained any personal profit from what happened. It is an indictment which the defendants could possibly win at trial. However, if they lose even one charge just because they have utilized their constitutional right to trial, the prison sentences would be more severe than if they just pled guilty. Many people of this community are obsessed with the supervisor's resignation, but seem to forget in May of 2010, this duly elected town board approved the sale of Boulder Stadium bonds. 6 months later, after the stadium was well under construction and finance, a group of citizens filed a petition and had a special end-of-the-year referendum with only 10,000 of 60,000 registered voters voting. The federal indictment gives this 7,000 to 3,000 vote against building a stadium a lot of credibility, but the main question is if the referendum was actually legally binding in order to cancel the sale of bonds and stop stadium construction after the fact, an issue never ruled upon by a judge. Supervisor St. Lawrence is a man who gets projects done. Boulder Stadium is owned by Ramapo, but all residents of Rockland County enjoy events there, especially me. As a Clarkstown resident with the most expensive town pools in the world and no golf courses, can I speak? Or you don't believe in my right to speak? Okay. As a Clarkstown resident with the most expensive town pools in the world
30 seconds.
and no golf courses, we only have a $6 per round $1 million miniature golf course. Ramapo is the only Rockland Township where high school athletic events actually occur at a town-owned artificial turf facility. Adding in golf courses and inexpensive pools makes Ramapo the top town for family recreation. Those of you who want the supervisor to resign should think about who the next administration will be. The block vote as a religious sect is growing and on the track to control
time
this
is up.
entire region of the Hudson.
Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else next?
I'll just say one, just 2 seconds.
Go right ahead.
Hi, Janet Curcione, 38 Co Farm Road.
Excuse me.
Janet Curcione, 38 Co Farm Road.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I just wanted to make one statement here. I wish I had a chance to write something, but I didn't, so I'll just speak from my heart. So we moved up here when I was very young, from the Bronx, like a lot of other folks here. And the reason we moved up here was because it was a suburban, beautiful area to live. We wanted to get away from the overpopulation that was happening in the cities, right? This was suburban. But what it's turned into, I was here all those years ago. This used to be single-family zoning, and I know you grew up here too. But you changed those laws. You were the one who had done that. I would never forget that because there were people fighting it at that time. As soon as you change those zoning laws and it turned into multifamily housing, this whole area has changed. Nothing to do specifically with religion, just in general. Multifamily dwellings everywhere. Hotels, I'm shocked to hear that. All this population in this area, the reason we moved here and the taxes we pay was to have this beautiful property, this beautiful scenery, this beautiful location to live. It's turning into, I don't even know what the word is. It's too overpopulated. We can't get around. You're talking about the school taxes. My kids go to school here. You don't have to remind me because my taxes are so out of control. It forces people to leave this area, which is so sad. I would think it would bother you guys. It's really a sad, sad thing that we grew up here. Our families were here. I think your kids, a lot of your kids were here. Doesn't it make you feel bad to see that people are having to leave? Our taxes are $30,000. I mean, more than mortgages, and people can't afford it. And yet, we're building and building and building, overpopulating, and a lot of these places aren't paying half the taxes. It's not fair. So please, consider this. You guys must consider this. All this planning stuff that you're doing. Take into consideration why we all came here. Everybody was to make your better lives up here. And it's very sad. It's so sad for me to see because I grew up here. And it's a beautiful place. I still love it, but it's very sad because it's making people feel like they have to go, and it shouldn't be that way. And again, because of the fact that it was a place where you were going to suburban life, not urban life. So that was the reason to move up here. And it's changed, the entire environment has changed. So please consider that when you're doing all of your planning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please. You spoke your 3 minutes. We heard from you. Please.
Hi, my name is Kathy Hugh. I live on 4 Heights Road in unincorporated Ramapo. I'd like to ask the board to do something for the town. We are so separated right now based on religion, and there's just no reason for that. I understand the zoning and the planning. I agree with the person that spoke before me. But I think it's incumbent upon the town board if no one else, to help us as a community come together and have dialogues. Because I don't think we're so far apart. There's certain things we want to mitigate. It's not that a lot of us want to get rid of yeshivas and stuff. There are just certain details that would make it easier for us to come to a common goal. And right now, we don't have a lot of ways to come together and discuss this in the civil-wise. This is not the forum, really, to discuss the type of informal discussions where we get to understand each other a little better and understand where each of us is coming from. I think a lot of us have a lot of respect for each other, but it doesn't show with what's happening. And I think part of that is the town board's fault and the zoning and the planning board's fault, but it's really not about whose fault it is. It's about whose job it is to pull us back together, and that's the town board's job to help start that. So I ask of you, can you please work with us to try to find some ways for us to conduct communications with each other better?
Could you spell your last name for me?
Hugh, H-U-G-H.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Larry Strack, New Hempstead, New York. Last town board meeting, I spoke about Spook Rock Golf Course. A day or two after I spoke at the town board meeting, I wrote a long letter to Mr. St. Lawrence, the supervisor. It was a 2-page letter, single-spaced. And as of yet, I have not received any correspondence back. I have not received even an acknowledgement that my letter was received and hopefully read. I hope that gets corrected. Hopefully by next town board meeting, I'll come in with a bunch of photographs. I'll hand them all out to you, showing you exactly what the difference is between the Spook Rock Golf Course and what the pros play on. And the pros play on golf courses that are, believe it or not, easier in a way than Spook Rock is. Spook Rock, the rough is very, very tall. I played earlier this week. I measured some grass right around a sand trap at 6 inches deep. I don't know if anybody on the board here plays golf, but that's unreasonable. We don't have professionals playing at Spook Rock. Everybody out there is a high handicapper. And that course should reflect the people who play there. It does not. Also, the people who run Spook Rock Golf Course do not like anybody criticizing their course at all. They get very defensive about it and they get very upset about it. This is constructive criticism. All it takes is a lawnmower. The grass should be mowed no later than 4 days, every 4 days. That keeps the golf course in good condition, okay? It makes it playable, okay? Sometimes when your ball goes in the rough, and I got a photo of my ball being 6 inches from what's called the first cut, which is a little bit taller grass than the fairway, the first cut, and you can't see the ball, okay, because the grass is so tall. The pros don't play onto this. The only time they do is at major tournaments, like the U.S. Open that's coming up this weekend, okay? You'll see it there. The same thing with the LPGA. Okay, they only have tall grass like this around, the major tournaments. The grass is normally kept kind of short around the greens, not on the greens, but around the greens. It's normally about 1.5 inches at the maximum.
30 seconds.
A golf ball is 1 5/8 of an inch. If you can't see any of the ball, okay, around the green, the grass is too tall. I'd like to thank you very much for listening to me. Hopefully I'll hear a response to my letter that I sent a month ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Come right up, sir.
Phil Carney, C-A-R-N-E-Y,
Thank you.
in Airmont. I'd just like to make a suggestion for the board members for as long as they may sit. I've been to numerous town board meetings at which They've referred to numerous items on the agenda throughout the evening. And I know you welcome public participation, but the public really can't give an intelligent answer to some of these items that apparently must be being discussed behind closed doors prior to coming into the meetings, because when they're voted on, I've yet to see any of the board members ask, out of cost to the town, what will it be?
Phil, just to give you a quick answer on that, there are public workshops before every meeting, 2 days before. They're open to the public, and people come and attend and listen, and the board discusses each and every item that will be voted on at the regular.
With the price, with the price.
With the price, everything.
Because I've never seen the price. I've been to the workshop meeting. I've never heard anyone say, like, for instance, the 5 officers that were sent for training upstate. I don't know how much that cost. I would love to know. And don't get me wrong, once again, I feel that's a necessary expenditure, but I don't know. I'd just like to hear, what does it take to put a dollar sign next to each item on even the agenda, so people know? They don't even have to attend.
There are resolutions for everything. That's the agenda is, what you're looking at is telling you what's on the agenda.
Right.
There's a resolution, and it has the price, and it says what things are for every item. And you're welcome to all of those. You talk to Mr. Sampson, he'll give you a copy.
Where are those?
The town clerk has those as under state law.
So they can't just be passed out at the meeting, so, people are aware of what's being spent, is what I'm asking.
If you come to a workshop, you'll hear it in detail. Okay.
All right, well, like I said, while you're still here, my
30
request
seconds.
is for the public to be better aware of the money spent for whatever you may have on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Motion to close the public participation. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Oman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carried unanimously. First item on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes for the meeting of May 11th. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is the adoption of the minutes for the regular meeting of May 26th. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Item number 2 on the agenda, our Town Attorney, Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. The first resolution, that's 2A on the agenda, is a resolution terminating the town's agreement with John J. Phelan III to serve as special counsel.
Moved by
Withers?
Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
For a number of years, the town has had a relationship with the operators of the Lafayette Theater. We provided a digital projector, and in exchange, programming was provided to our seniors and others. We have been advised by the current operator that they no longer wish to continue an agreement with the town and wish to be freer in terms of their programmatic activities. As a consequence, this resolution asks that the theater now return the town's digital projector and other equipment, which was on loan in exchange for those programmatic activities.
Moved by Councilman Ullman, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
2C on the agenda amends a prior resolution involving Mr. Jeffrey Welch. This resolution settled the claim, and the amendment to the prior resolution extends the current license agreement with Mr. Welch through the end of 2016.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by
Withers?
Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
We have a tax certiorari settlement as the subject of the next resolution. This involves a property owner known as Jasandi Associates LP. This is a property at 71 Eckerson Road. It's a professional building. The settlement is for years 2012 through 2016 and results in a town tax refund of $288.10.
Moved by Councilman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The next resolution settles a claim brought by Mr. and Mrs. Reich. This is for damage to a fence caused by a dead tree which fell from town property. This is at 11 Fourchet Road in Muncie.
And they had already had previously notified the town that the tree was dead, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the amount of that total repair of their fence was $2,100.
Yes, and that's based on a repair estimate that the town obtained.
Okay. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
We have one other tax surcharge settlement on the agenda. This is by a property owner, Mr. and Mrs. Molinaro. This covers tax years 2011 through 2016. This is property at 6 Cedar Lane in Suffern. The total tax refund for the settlement is $236.39.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The next resolution appoints Morvillo LLP to serve as special counsel to the town.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
We've received a proposal from Sparaco and Youngblood, PLLC. They're civil engineers and land surveyors. The proposal is to prepare a survey, a proposed subdivision map, and a site plan for property along Torn Valley Road. It's recently been restored by Ford after the removal of paint sludge that was on the site for decades. So this would lead to the potential development of that site, probably for warehousing, and it'll be subject to approval by the planning board and, of course, DEC, which has been actively involved in the restoration of that property.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. 3-1.
The town board was advised recently that our long-term assessor, Scott Shedler, is resigning from his position in the town of Ramapo and has taken a somewhat more lucrative position with the town of Clarkstown. This is a resolution which accepts the resignation of Mr. Shedler.
Moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
2J on the agenda is a resolution granting the request of Alyssa Guido for a requested leave of absence from her position as real property data collector without pay.
Moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
In light of Mr. Shedler's resignation from the position of assessor, the town board has a resolution before it to appoint an acting assessor as we pursue a more permanent appointment in the weeks or months to come. The resolution names current assessing department employee Thomas McRoby, who's the senior person in that department of Sloatsburg, New York, to the position as acting assessor. This will involve pursuant to a CSEA contract, a 5% out-of-classification award above his current salary while he's in that position.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
I just want to make sure that it's during his appointment and goes back after.
That's correct. It's limited to the time that he serves in the position as acting assessor, which the board could change at any point. We have a resolution which retains CMS Realty Advisors Corporation on an as-needed basis for assistance with the assessor's office. This would be for a period not to exceed December 31st, 2016, at an hourly rate. And again, this is only on an as-needed basis.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
We have received a request, as we have in a number of prior years, from Advocating for Change for $1,000. This resolution approves that request. This provides services for low-income children within the town.
Moved by
Withers?
Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
In the past, we've also provided funding for the East Ramapo Marching Band. This provides a stipend for the East Ramapo Marching Band Parents Association for the current fiscal year.
Okay.
Withers?
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And one abstention. 3-0, Chris.
The next resolution authorizes the supervisor to provide notification on behalf of the town of our cessation of participation with the Rockland County Office of Community Development, a consortium, and the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnership Program. The purpose of this leaving this consortium is it's believed that we can obtain more grants separately from these organizations.
And that, we were in that until 2018, so this commences 2018. Moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Okay, I think that completes that section of the agenda.
All right, on the police matters, we have the reimbursement for Gene Basthais for a towing charges. His car was towed, and it should not have been towed, and it was $425.75.
Withers?
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And the reason why he was towed was he was arrested, or stopped, and there was a warrant out for him, or for the car, correct, Counsel?
I think there was a warrant for his arrest. which
And so
actually-
he was arrested, the car was towed. As it turned out, the warrant had been satisfied, and the court in Airmont had not notified the New York PIN, New York State PIN. So we let him go, and we have to reimburse him. Okay? We voted on that too, Chris?
Yes, it's done.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a emergency travel for 2 detectives. This is on a major case that they're working on, and the total will be $1,881.75.
Withers?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next, under purchasing, is the acceptance of a proposal for the monitor of the alarms of duplex pump stations. This is to have telemetry on our pump stations, so if they go down on our sewer pump stations, we will know. Okay, moved by?
I'm going to recuse myself as, before we move it, because I've personally done business with this company.
Okay. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries 3-0. One abstention. The next item on the agenda is amendment of resolution for the acceptance of quotations for towing for the Ramapo vehicles, including trucks.
Withers?
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. That went out to bid. Next, approval of expenditures at the Parks and Recreation facilities. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? 3-0. 3-0. Seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. Approval of a petty cash fund for the Ramapo Tennis and swimming pools for 2016. The Ramapo Tennis and Swim would have a petty cash of $300. The Saddle River Pool and the Spook Rock Pool, $1,000. Moved by Councilman Ullman, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Next is approval of a change order for installation and reconstruction and realignment of the press box concession stand and pavilion at Camp Scuffy, Field Pro Enterprises. We have rebuilt the fields there for the girls' ASA softball. They have 3 new fields, and there's a new concession stand there, and they had to realign it. This is a cost of $9,000.
Withers?
Moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Next is the acceptance of a donation from the Door Stop Doggy Station for the Medicine Garden in the Torn Valley. This is a donation that has a value of a donation of equipment with a value of $1,600.
Withers?
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Did you have any other new items, Council?
No, that completes the agenda.
Okay, a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you all.